$550 Airpods Max, the $200 cheaper Sony WH-1000XM4s. Now these are easily the best of the best consumer headphones out there in basically every category, from noise canceling to transparency to sound quality to seamlessness and working out. Okay, they're not the best at everything, and there are some downsides to them, but there are upsides and extra features too, plus many ways to customize and improve your audio listening experience. But the question is, which headphones provide the better audio listening experience overall? Well, the quicker we start, the quicker we'll find out. So let's start with the most important part, aka sound quality. Now with the hype around the Airpods Max, some people think they sound exceptional, like mind-blowingly better than other consumer headphones. But that's just not the case. I mean, they sound good, like very good, but they sound just very good. If you think they sound exceptionally great, like a lot better than headphones like the XM4s, then you're gonna be disappointed. The main difference between the sound you get on the XM4s and the Airpods Max is really the bass. Straight out the box, there's just a decent bit more bass with the XM4s. Now things do sound more clear on the Airpods Max, and vocals sound real nice, especially the high-pitched female voices and everything. But like I said, it is lacking a little bit of bass. I mean, it does have a good amount of bass, but it's a good amount less than what you get with the XM4s. And if you want to change the way it sounds and give it more bass, sorry, but you can't. With the Sonys though, if you don't like the bass, or if you think the bass is not enough for you, you can always go into the Sony app and reduce the bass or increase the bass or mess with anything else to make things sound just how you like. Honestly, the EQ settings and the bass, I'll say makes the biggest difference between the Sonys and the Airpods Max when it comes to sound quality. But there's some other differences as well though. Like the Airpods Max doesn't get quite as loud as the XM4s. The XM4s get a bit louder. And if you want, you can actually go into the Sony app and boost everything all the way up to just basically increase the volume. Me personally, I always love listening to loud stuff like music, movies, and even when I'm gaming, like I just really want to be immersed in my stuff. And when things are louder, it just creates a more dynamic experience. And I always get a more dynamic experience with the Sonys. With the Airpods Max, you can tell it sounds very good and very clear, but it's not as loud. And it doesn't have as much bass as well. I mean, it still has more bass than flat audiophile headphones most of the time, but it doesn't have close to as much bass as the XM4s do, even without messing with the EQ settings. So which is better when it comes to sound quality? Well, I think the Airpods Max has a bit better and higher quality sound drivers, and that's why vocals sound a bit better and everything just sounds clearer in general. Even the bass, by the way. There's more bass on the Sonys, but it's more dirty bass. The bass on the Airpods Max is a good amount less, but it is clearer and everything. So yeah, I think the Airpods Max has higher quality sound drivers, but those drivers just don't get as loud as the drivers on the XM4s. And they also don't produce the same amount of bass either. And again, the drivers on the XM4s aren't bad. Like they're right behind the Airpods Max, and they're actually pretty good. They do sound a little less clean and clear compared to the Airpods Max, but they're still not far off in terms of clarity either. Like I said, the biggest difference between these two headphones is really the difference in bass, and then the EQ settings if you want to mess with that. And then maybe the loudness and the clarity and all of that. But things aren't so different there. So yeah, basically, because of all of this, whenever I want to listen to my music and enjoy it the most, I'll actually almost always go with the XM4s. And I actually think most people would as well, especially if you like bass and listen to hip-hop songs and rap, all of that. And even if you don't, you can always mess with the EQ settings and you get a sound that you like. And that's why I'll say that the XM4s are better when it comes to sound quality. But how do things sound when sound's not playing though? Like how much noise are you going to be hearing? And just how good are these guys when it comes to noise canceling? Well, the XM4s are very good and they cancel a whole lot of noise. They're one of the best headphones out there when it comes to noise canceling. But the Airpods Max is the best pair of headphones out there when it comes to noise canceling. Now they're actually not far off apart though. I'll say the Airpods Max cancels like 10% more noise, maybe a little less than that, maybe a little more, but it is enough to be noticeable. And it's pretty impressive too, because like I said, the XM4s are very, very good when it comes to noise canceling. In fact, I'll say that it and the XM3s had the best noise canceling on all consumer headphones in the world. But that was up until the Airpods Max came out, and now the XM3s and the XM4s are tied for second place. But first place definitely goes to the Airpods Max. With these, you'll get as close to absolute silence as you can possibly get today. Now, some people have said that it's a bit of a mixed bag between them when it comes to noise canceling, and sometimes the Airpods Max cancels more noise, and then other times the XM4s cancel more, maybe a different variation or a different frequency or in a different environment or whatever.
Me, I can't say I've had that experience. I mean, I didn't go walking in traffic or to an amusement park or on any major adventures with the most extreme of conditions to test out how they both do with like lots of different kinds of noise. But in my experience with my minor adventures, mostly staying indoors and dealing with fine type noise and what I'll say is normal noise,
the Airpods Max has had better noise canceling overall. And they're just the best headphones I've ever used when it comes to noise canceling. They're also actually the best headphones I've used in the category opposite of noise canceling. I'm talking transparency. The Airpods Max is basically perfect in transparency. Like what you hear with your headphones off is basically what you hear with your headphones on. Basically. There is a little difference though, because with the Airpods Max on, you get a little bit of an electronic type sound, but it's very, very subtle and you probably won't notice it. And even with this slight thingy, it's still easily the most naturally sounding headphones when it comes to transparency. A lot more natural sounding than the XM4s. With the XM4s, you will be able to hear surroundings and headphones will sound transparent, but everything's gonna have that phone call-y feel and things won't sound as loud or natural. Like they'll sound kind of microphony. Like not bad by any means. I mean, you can still hear everything around you, but things just won't sound as natural as they do with your actual ears. And in almost the same exact way, things won't sound as natural as they do with the Airpods Max. There's no microphony feel at all with the Airpods Max, and things don't get like less loud than your ears or louder or whatever. And that's basically why they're easily better than the XM4s and basically every other pair of headphones out there when it comes to transparency. Now, speaking of the microphones themselves though, how do they sound? Well, hear them for yourself. This is a microphone sample from the Airpods Max.
The tall old trees above them, their winter fire supplied, when autumn's flaming sunsets from their red leaves had died.
And this is a microphone sample from the XM4s.
How are the new microphones themselves though? Well, you should just hear for yourself. I'm talking to you through them right now, and this is how they sound. Now, how do they sound to your ears? To my ears, the AirPods Max sounds easily better. They're actually one of the best sounding headphones I've tried, microphone-wise. The XM4s, on the other hand, I know they're supposed to sound better than the XM3s, and in some ways they do, but then I think there's a software thingy they try to put in, which I think is supposed to reduce noise, but it ends up putting in some cracking into the sound. So yeah, the AirPods Max has better microphone quality. But at the end of the day, you are only gonna notice the microphones when you're on a phone call or a Zoom call or making a voice recording or whatever. There's something else that you're gonna notice a lot more. And even if you don't, people are gonna notice it on your behalf for sure. Now, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking design.
As you can see, these guys look very different. They still look like regular headphones, like none of them are completely outside the box in that way, but they still have completely different designs. The XM4s are made from mostly plastic all around. Some parts feel softer to the touch, some parts feel harder, but it's basically plastic all around. The AirPods Max, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. Well, that's if metal is the exact opposite of plastic. And if it is, then yes, the AirPods Max is the exact opposite of the XM4s, because it's literally made of metal all over. Well, not literally, and not all over. As you can see, the top is made of this perforated mesh material that's supposed to reduce weight, which it tries to, but metal is still heavy, and I bet the AirPods Max would be heavier than you think when you hold it for the first time. The material at the top feels soft though, and it's stretchy and very flexible, but you actually barely feel it on your head at all when you have it on. The equivalent of this mesh material for the XM4s are the nice padded fake leather cushions that are at the top and also on the ear cups as well. They feel very soft and pliable, and they're pretty comfortable too, but we'll talk about comfort and all of that properly later. Now, the equivalent of this on the AirPods Max, aka their take on the ear cushions, ear cup situation, is different from the Sony's fake leather padded design. This will try to be comfortable, of course, but Apple uses fabric to achieve this. Similar to the fabric material at the top, the ear cushions are made with this tight-knit but soft fabric material, which is pretty interesting because it's soft, but it's a very different kind of soft compared to the XM4s. And sometimes it kind of isn't the soft you might like. We'll talk about that later though, okay? Now, there's something else you should know about the ear cushions, something more interesting. And I'm sure you already know, but they are removable and interchangeable. So you can mix and match them, even with different colors, if that's what you want to do. But it is going to cost you $69 for a new pair of cushions though. Oh, and you can also get the AirPods Max itself in whatever color you want. Well, not whatever color you want. You can only pick from one of these. And you also have different color choices with the XM4s as well, but not as much as the AirPods Max though. So they are different there. Now, another way they're a bit different has to do with their controls. The AirPods Max has two buttons. One is for playing and pausing your music and messing with your music with double tapping and triple tapping. And it also doubles up as your volume rocker as well. And it's just about the most precise and fun volume rocker out there. Easily the best I've used. Now, the other button on the AirPods Max is what you use to switch from noise canceling to transparency and vice versa. Now, for controls on the XM4s, on the other hand, you don't really need to push any buttons. There are two buttons as well. One to switch from noise canceling to transparency and back and yada yada, just like with the AirPods Max. And the other one, unlike with the AirPods Max, is a button that can actually turn off and on the headphones. I believe they call this a power button. And as you might know, you're not going to find this anywhere on the AirPods Max. But as you might know again or not, you don't really need a power button with the AirPods Max. Well, except if you do. But then at that point, it means something probably has already gone wrong with your AirPods Max. But we'll talk about all of that later, okay? For the most part though, the lack of a power button isn't going to affect you much with the AirPods Max. But then again, it's not going to affect you at all. And you don't even have to think about this with the XM4s. Now, as far as the rest of the music controls though, you access all of it by tapping or swiping on the touchpad of the outside of the XM4s. Now, if you look at the inside of the XM4s though, you see we have a sensor in there. And we're going to talk about what it does and how it works very soon. Same thing goes for the AirPods Max. It actually has two sensors, one in each ear cup, and they work to really up the seamlessness with the AirPods Max.
Now, what do I mean exactly? Well, I mean seamlessness, like just how easy and hassle-free the headphones feel and behave. Like when it comes to fit, comfort, system controls, and just everything in general. Like let's take a look at the sensors, for example.
As your music's playing, you take them off and your music stops. You put it back on and it continues from exactly where it stopped. And it works very, very well. It really knows when it's on your head and when it's not. Like you're not gonna fool it or anything. It works with Apple devices only though. Now with the XM4s, things basically work the same way. They play and pause your music seamlessly as well. A little less seamless compared to the AirPods Max in my experience, but still pretty seamless. And they don't discriminate between Android and iOS. Also, they're still pretty comfortable as well. Now I'm saying still because even before the XM4s, I've been using the XM3s for almost like 3 years now actually. And the padded fake leather design has never let me down when it comes to comfort till this day. And it's the exact same way with the XM4s. They might get slightly uncomfortable after you've used them for hours and hours and hours straight, and your ears might get a little warm. But all in all, the XM4s are very comfortable headphones. Like no one really has any complaints here. You're not gonna have any complaints here. And you're not going to have any complaints with the AirPods Max either. They feel very comfortable. Well, when you put them on for the first time. The comfort you get with them though is different from the comfort you get with the XM4s. Now the XM4s just feel like soft pillows against your ears that are loosely molded around your head and your facial structure in a comfortable, loose way, if that makes any sense. With the AirPods Max, it still feels like they're pillows against your head, but it's like the pillows are actually being pushed against the sides of your head and the clamping force is actually pretty high. I mean, it's still comfortable though. Like I said, it's the fabric material on the ear cushions that are being pushed on the sides of your face basically against your ears. So it doesn't hurt or anything. Well, except after a couple of hours, and then it kind of does. See, I don't know what it is. You probably wouldn't expect this from this kind of material after like touching it for the first time or wearing it for the first time. But your ears are going to hurt after a while, and the fabric material is going to feel more compressed and not so soft and cushioning anymore. This isn't the case at all with the XM4s. They always feel comfortable. Well, almost always. They don't feel anything close to comfortable when you're laying down on the bed on your side. Like most over-ear headphones, the XM4s feel like they're piercing the side of your face when you're in that position. And your neck's really gonna hurt, and your ears too, and basically too many things are gonna be hurting, right? This actually doesn't happen at all with the AirPods Max. The AirPods Max feels comfortable even when laying down on the bed on your side. Now, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the metal design and the clamping force and the way it doesn't really budge at all. So your ears never really make contact with the inside of the headphones. And your neck never really hurts. So yeah, surprisingly, the AirPods Max is actually better and more comfortable when laying down on your side. But the XM4s are more comfortable in basically every other scenario, especially after hours of use. Something else the XM4s are better for is working out. Now, I never said they were good for working out, okay? Because your ears are going to get warm and sweaty, and you'll probably be better off with earbuds if you're going to be working out. What you definitely won't be better off with though is the AirPods Max. The AirPods Max just isn't built for working out. They're probably going to fall out. You know, they're side heavy, they're not top heavy, and you don't want that metal body hitting the ground. And also, sweat and dirt and just some nasty stuff is going to be absorbed by the ear cushions, and you're going to have to wash it. You know, it's fabric material. So yeah, at the end of the day, long story short, I'll say the XM4s provide the more seamless experience overall. There are some things the AirPods Maxes are better and more seamless at, like volume rocking, for example, and maybe even the button versus the touchpad situation. But then again, the XM4s also win in other areas, like the transparency shortcut, for example. You just put your hand over the right ear cup, and you're in transparency mode. No delay, just seamless. The AirPods Max doesn't have this kind of feature. The closest thing I found you can get to this is when you press both buttons at the same time, and your music pauses, and you switch to transparency mode at the same time. But it's not the same exact thing. And yeah, basically, overall, when it comes to seamlessness, I'll say the XM4s are actually the more seamless pair of headphones when taking everything into account, especially comfort. Now, we haven't taken the fun extra features into account though, so why don't we do that right now, okay? We've already talked about the automatic playing and pausing of music with both of them, but a much more interesting feature though that the AirPods Max has is spatial audio. I'm sure you know about this already. If you don't, I have videos you can watch, but it's basically 3D for your ears. It only works for certain movies and TV shows though. Now the XM4s also have a 3D for your ears type feature. Sony calls theirs 360 audio. Now theirs is inconsistent and it only works with music instead of movies, and it only works with a small amount of songs out there and only with specific apps that you have to pay for and you probably don't use. Now for other extra features in the AirPods Max, they aren't really anymore, right? The spatial audio is just about the star extra feature that the AirPods Max has. It doesn't have much more extra features. That's not how it is with the XM4s though. The XM4s have a couple more extra features, like speak to chat for example. Now this one's pretty self-explanatory. When your music's playing in noise cancelling mode and then you start talking to someone, for example, the XM4s will pause your music when it hears you and switch to transparency mode as well. Now when you're done talking, they'll go back to playing your music again and they'll put you back in noise cancelling mode. It's pretty cool, but I found it can be real sensitive though. You can't even hum your music too loud. If you do, it's gonna think you're trying to have a conversation with someone and it's gonna stop your music and activate the feature when you don't want it to. You don't get any speak to chat type feature of the AirPods Max though. Now the only other extra feature we have to talk about is a useful one actually, and it's also one that's absent on the AirPods Max but present on the XM4s. Now what I'm talking about is how the XM4s can connect to multiple Bluetooth devices at once. And by multiple, I mean two devices max. Like I said, the AirPods Max can connect to a max of one device, just like most other over-ear headphones out there.
But all in all, as far as extra features go, the XM4s definitely have more, but the AirPods Max has spatial audio though.
You know, and spatial audio has some weight to it. But then again, 360 audio could gain some weight in the future, and the XM4s also have some other useful extra features.
But yeah, that's about it for the extra features with these devices. Now, let's talk about a thing that keeps the extra features alive and well and working. I'm talking battery. Starting with the AirPods Max, it lasts about 20 hours of non-stop use.
And the XM4s last about 30 hours of non-stop use. So the XM4s last a little bit longer, 10 extra hours, but I'll say they're both past the threshold for where the battery is not gonna just matter to you anymore. Like you're not gonna be listening to something for 20 hours straight. And they also charge back pretty quickly as well. So a little bit of charge will give you a lot of use basically. So I'll say they're both pretty good when it comes to battery life. Now, the battery system on the XM4 is pretty straightforward though. With the AirPods Max, it's a bit complicated.
See, like I said before, there's no power button, so you're gonna have to put it into the case if you want to turn it off.
Now, this really isn't a problem though. Like it's not gonna be just draining battery all the time while it's not in the case and it's not plugged in.
Because Apple actually implemented a low power mode, which the AirPods Max is gonna go into whenever it detects it's not on your head. And it works very, very well actually. So yeah, I'll say just don't pay too much attention to this. You actually don't have to put it into the case if you want to turn it off.
You're gonna get pretty good battery life, even though it seems kind of weird. Their headphones are always on.
But this is something to really worry about. And in the real world, there's basically no problem with the battery situation of the AirPods Max. Well, that's as long as nothing goes wrong. Now, what could go wrong, you ask? Well, that's a good question. So now, let's start talking about the not so good things with these headphones. Like I was saying with the AirPods Max, there is that scenario we talked about when your AirPods Max would just be draining battery.
When it's not plugged in and it's not in the case. It is actually a thing and people have complained about that on the internet.
Now, that's not how it's supposed to work though. I never had this problem, and if you have this problem, you should be able to contact Apple and get a replacement or a refund because you shouldn't be having this problem. But I don't really think this is that big a deal unless you get a bad pair, and I didn't get a bad pair though, and you're entitled to a good pair, so I don't think it's that big a deal. Now, as far as the not so good things with the XM4s, to be honest, I don't really have any noteworthy not so good thing to say about the XM4s. The XM4s don't really have a certain weak spot like that. They're just pretty well-rounded headphones. So yeah, I think that's about it. I believe we talked about everything we need to talk about. So now, which is actually better?
Well, the AirPods Max sounds better, but XM4s are my pick for sound quality actually, just because of the bass and the fact I can change the EQ settings and the louder volume as well. AirPods Max is clearer though, but I have to go with the XM4s for sound quality. And the XM4s also have very good noise cancelling, but the AirPods Max is a bit better when it comes to noise cancelling. They're actually kinda the best noise cancelling headphones in the world. And they're also the best in the world when it comes to transparency as well. The XM4s aren't bad, but they can't really compete here. The AirPods Max also has better microphone quality. The XM4s also can't compete here, and you definitely prefer making phone calls with the AirPods Max. But you're definitely not going to want to work out with them though. Trust me, it's just not a good idea on multiple levels actually. You're going to be better off with the XM4s if you want to work out. Now, it's not the best for working out though, alright? Go get earbuds, okay? If you want to work out. But your experience with the XM4s will definitely be better compared to all the stuff you're gonna have to deal with when you work out with the Airpods Max. The XM4s are also just more comfortable, and you can really use them for long periods of time. Well, not while laying down in the bed though. The Airpods Max is better there. And it's also better for watching movies with its killer spatial audio feature, which is probably, actually definitely the best extra feature on the Airpods Max. I don't think it has any other extra features. The XM4s do have 360 audio though, but it's not as good and accessible as spatial audio. But then again, you can't connect the two devices at once. You can't do that on the Airpods Max. And you also don't get the speak to chat feature on the Airpods Max. Oh, and something you also don't get on the Airpods Max is a headphone jack.
Okay, that's enough, okay? We've talked about everything, and they both have their positives and their negatives, but now let's not waste any more time. Which is actually better?
Well, you should know. When I do these comparisons, I actually never take price into account. And I'm not going to in this video either, okay? I'm judging these devices based on the experience they provide. Or actually rather, the experience they provide dead. Because I've actually used them and I actually know which one I'd pick. AKA, I already know which one is better in the real world, off camera. All I've been doing up to this point in this video is showing you guys how I see things in every specific aspect, right? And getting you guys up to speed. But now we're here. So basically, long story short, both of these headphones are great.
And this is easily the closest and toughest comparison I've ever done. So you should really like the video and subscribe for all my hard work. You might regret that though once you see my pick for this video, depending on who you are. But look.
The Airpods Max sounds great, but the XM4s sound just about as great. I actually even prefer it for music because of the bass and the volume and the EQ settings. But their sound drivers are around the same quality. Now the Airpods Max also has better noise cancelling. But the difference is pretty small. It's noticeable, but the XM4s are right behind. Now transparency is a lot better on the Airpods Max though. It's actually perfect really. But see, I appreciate transparency, but it's not as important as some of the other stuff like sound quality, for example, right? And the Airpods Max also has spatial audio, but I only get to enjoy spatial audio when I'm watching certain movies and when I'm watching movies at all. And I know there's a bit of hype behind spatial audio, and I really like spatial audio, but I wouldn't buy the Airpods Max just for spatial audio. I wouldn't even think of buying the XM4s for 360 audio though, but they are comfortable, and I could do some physical activity with them, and I wouldn't do any sort of physical activity with the Airpods Max. And I love the metal feel and design, but it kind of hurts after a while of use, and it's just not one of the most comfortable pair of headphones on the market. And you might be better off treating it a little bit more like fancy jewelry instead of complete headphones. And see, I'm not trying to do all of that. I'm trying to just have pretty good headphones and have a pretty good audio listening experience. All the extra stuff with the Airpods Max doesn't really help me with that. But most of all the stuff with the XM4s help specifically that. So hopefully you're not mad at me, but that's why the XM4s are the winners today. Now, if you are mad at me, let me know why in the comment section below. Do you disagree with something I said? Do you have a different experience with the Airpods Max or the XM4s? Do you think the Airpods Max should have won this? Well, let me know in the comment section below, and make sure to like the video as well if you liked it. Subscribe so you don't miss future videos, and thank you for watching.
All right, this please. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So you're now number one. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It could be this guy over here. But you're not that bad. Okay. Okay. It's about Damn, that's that's crazy. That's actually crazy. Who would have thought? That's actually accurate. All right. That's it.